Welcome to the Kaizen Gal Podcast. This is your host, MC. The Kaizen Gal is a podcast about continuous improvement, building the habits to make the most out of what you already have and scale your progress in a sustainable way. Some people say, don't work harder, work smarter. Well, I believe that we can do both if we balance our time, energy, and drive well. On to today's episode. Hi, everyone. It is actually midnight. I meant to record this episode yesterday, the 22nd, but didn't happen. And I meant to talk on this episode about vision, about Kaizen, and about how you need a vision in order to proper implement a Kaizen approach to your life, which is linked to Agile. But the plan changed because I wasn't able to do the research that I wanted for the episode. Like, I do have the research and the links and the notes that I've taken, but I wanted to condense them in 20 minutes. I'm not going to be able to do that because I need to go to bed. Which brought me to the new topic for today, which is basically burnout. Burnout, and I mentioned that a little bit in the trailer, performance fatigue. So this is going to be the title of the episode, Performance Fatigue and Perspectives. So I have a couple of friends and acquaintances who are going through burnout because I guess it all started with the pandemic when everybody went home and we somehow thought that it was going to be for a time. And so we picked up a lot of new habits that we didn't have before because the goal was kind of like after the pandemic, we're going to come out of that on the other side, a new person with abs, speaking a new language, knowing how to bake bread, which I haven't learned and I do not intend to. But we just kind of started that race to catch up on the life that we could not live on the outside. We lived that on the inside. Except that on the inside, it was not just us picking up new habits. It was also having work and having family and a husband and kids, and lots of things started to happen in the house. And I would say that in North America, the perspective about work is different. So I mentioned that in my intro. I am originally from Gabon, which is a country in Central Africa. I was born there and I was raised in that system, and I was also exposed a lot to French culture. And so I can clearly see the difference in perspective in how we perceive work. So going back to the performance fatigue, like that race that is really specific and typical of America is really like do the most, hustle, grind, make the most out of your 24 hours. It's only here that I hear people say like Beyonce has the same 24 hours as everyone else. I've never heard anyone in France say that. I've never heard anyone in Gabon say that. No African in his right mind is going to say that. Not trying to indulge in stereotypical statements, but that is true. So with all of that, what I've seen is we picked up all of this, but somehow along the way, we kind of got lost, rethinking our lives, rethinking jobs, rethinking relationships, rethinking just a lot of things. And kind of by trying to go against the context that we were in, context that was kind of pushing us inside, that was depriving us of liberties and freedom, we started to run even faster towards performance, started to run even faster towards our goals, new objectives. And it's weird because I can clearly see two sides of the story. It's at the same time, we wanted to break free from what was happening before the pandemic. But as we were trying to break free from that, it's almost as if we imprison ourselves in the forward vision of this is what we're going to do now. And we started running even faster. And I am also guilty of that during the pandemic. And I mean, I guess we're still in. I took more classes than I had before. I changed jobs. I bought a house. Like a lot of things just changed drastically in 2 years. And that is the story that I see across the board. We changed our lives drastically. And as we did so, we wanted to break away from what was like our lifestyles before and find new ones. But in these new ones, we're going at it like with more strength and drive than before. And this is creating fatigue. This is creating performance fatigue. Lots of my friends who started new jobs during the pandemic are tired. This is not like the pre-pandemic job. It's the pandemic job that they got in that they are tired because they went at it with, I would say, all of the excitement of doing something new, of breaking their own patterns, adopting new habits. They went at it full throttle. And now they are breaking down. And I think that is something that we should be able to break away from without necessarily feeling guilt. Some of them are feeling guilty of having to rest. Some of them are feeling guilty of having been put on medical leave. But I try to remind them and to remind myself of the African perspective, I would say, in the sense that no matter how fast you run, time is going to outrun you. And we shouldn't be addicted to being productive, because being so focused on improvement, and that's me, the Kaizen Gal talking, always looking for ways to do better, doing the most and all of that. But I recognize that even in Kaizen, in that continuous improvement, we also have to get better at resting. When we talk about self-help, self-improvement, we always think about increasing the productivity. And I was talking to a friend yesterday and saying to her, like, you don't want to be in bondage to your productivity. You don't want to be in bondage to your goals. You don't want to be a slave to your goals. Your objectives are here because they are an expression of who you are and who you want to be and what you are thriving, hopefully, towards. And you shouldn't be in bondage to them. You shouldn't be in bondage to do the most. Like me at midnight recording a podcast. You don't have to do all of that. You don't want to be in bondage. You want to be, as part of your continuous improvement, you should plan for rest as well. Okay? Even in a sprint, like in Agile and Scrum, we have a retro. The reason why we have a retro is because we stop and we look back. We stop and we look back on what worked, what didn't work. It's not even just the achievements. Also, we look back at the mindset that enabled the successes and the mindset that fostered the shortcomings. And so I really want to encourage everyone to rest, to plan rest. The first thing you should do, we always, as an entrepreneur, when you get your paycheck, or even as an employee, when you get your paycheck, you want to pay yourself first. Okay, I don't mean breaking the bank and taking all of the money. No, you pay yourself a reasonable amount, and then you tackle the other responsibilities that you have to handle with your money. Do the same thing with your time. When there's a new week, when there is a new month, you schedule your time for yourself first. And then you schedule the time for everything else and anything else, so that whenever you are running towards your goal, you know that you're going to have a break. At some point along the way, you're going to be able to sit, enjoy a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a movie with a friend, a conversation. But it is key, because that's also one thing, and you will probably relate to that. It's when you do nothing sometimes that you have the best ideas. Your mind is just wandering, going, like tackling all of the thoughts that you typically put away because you don't have time to dive into them. You read books that you don't have time to usually read. So you want to nurture your drive towards productivity with rest. So plan your rest first. That's really the one thing that I want you to remember from this episode, is the same way you pay yourself first. When a new month, a new period of time starts, quarter, month, week, you want to plan time for yourself. Even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, time where you don't have to answer to anyone. You're not responsible for anything, and you can just have a moment to yourself. This is important. Mental rest is important. Physical rest is important, because if you don't do that, you're just preventing yourself from really achieving these goals, because you might be able to run on empty physically, but the moment you start to run empty mentally, that's where you can't even find the drive. Like, that can't tap into that inner energy that you have to move forward. So mental rest and physical rest are key. and do not feel guilt. Honestly, if you are an employee of a company, I am telling you, and we've seen that during the pandemic, if they had to furlough you today to survive, they will do it. It is not your mom and pop's business. Nothing is gonna happen. You are not irreplaceable. We like to think that we are, but we are not. You may be essential to your work. May be difficult for the company to keep moving if you take a leave, but they will do it because you're not the first one, the first employee, and you're not the last one. That's why businesses are thriving, that they're not dying when people are leaving companies, because they are resilient and they are built to be resilient. So as an employee, I really, really want you to feel empowered to take a leave, to ask for vacation, to ask for just a day at home when you don't have to do anything, and do not feel guilt. Because the fact that you're asking that means that you are well aware that now you are at a point where you cannot deliver your best work because you are not mentally okay or you are not physically okay. So take the rest. As entrepreneurs, take the rest, okay? Take the rest, because for a lot of you, your business cannot function without you. You are at the core of your business. So in order for you to make money, you have to work. I totally understand that. There are many, many tools, and I may cover some of them in upcoming episodes that will enable you to plan the time for yourself, plan the time for your business without necessarily having to cut on hours that you're working, but that will increase your efficiency in the hours that you're already working. I mean, if you're working like 121 hours per week, we need to talk. But there are ways to be profitable and healthy, alive. I'm not saying fully rested, but I'm saying at least to be able to mentally rest. Mentally rest is super key, because when you do not feel like yourself, when you are berating yourself all the time because you're not able to reach your goals, when you are berating yourself because you compare yourself to other people, it is not feeding into your drive. It is depleting your energy. So yeah, that was kind of my spiel, I guess, for today, where I really want us to take steps, and it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to force yourself to rest, because that's how addicted we are to being productive in North America. That's how in bondage we are to our work, our objectives, and our goals. And we have to remember that all of these, and this may be my millennial perspective, all of these, we are not there on this planet to serve our goals, to serve our objectives, our projects, our work. We are here to bring value, and these are an expression of who we are. One expression. Your work is one expression of who you are. Your business is one expression of who you are. Your goals as well. So do not reduce who you are to what you created or to what you want to create. Expand beyond that. But to do that, you have to rest first. That's it for me today. I hope you found that episode helpful and insightful. If you have questions or topic you'd like me to address, email me at the email address in the description box. And last but not least, leave your 5-star review anywhere you are listening. It really encourages me. I wish you, wherever you are, to be well, and I will talk to you next time.